Hey everyone, let's quickly wrap up October. And I uploaded some videos actually. I did a goals check-in for the third quarter and I'm doing good on reading still. I'm not so good on other goals. Basically, I abandoned all other goals and not really having strict ones. Thank you all for telling me how you're doing with your goals. And I also uploaded a letter to October. Thank you all very much for your nice comments there. Let's move on to the books. I read Piranesi. I vlogged my reading experience so you can see how my thought process goes as I read along. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. It really plays with a lot of ideas, with a lot of different settings, and I especially enjoyed how the knowledge you have as a reader shifts and how it shifts juxtaposed to what the narrator knows. The whole book is written in journal entries, and we start off in a house, and this character Piranesi, and there's not many people living there, and the house is very big and gets flooded a lot, and you just don't know where you are, but you get this very confident narrator whose journal entries you read. As the plot and story progress, there's a shift in knowledge. You understand more where you are, what's going on, and have an idea of what happened, while the narrator gets more and more confused. I really enjoyed that part. More in the reading blog. Another book I read and reviewed is Thief of Time, the 26th book in the Discworld novel, or the 5th in the Death series. I really enjoyed this one. There was so much fun talk about time and the power bodies have over humans, and how we are basically slaves to our bodies' needs sometimes, and how time is flexible or can be viewed differently. I love that. The story follows mostly the idea that the auditors want to stop time, and since Des can't interfere, he gets Susan to help his granddaughter, and there's also a history monk going on trying to fix the problem of a clockmaker wanting to capture time and stopping it. I loved it. I can highly recommend it. Also, a better review up. The last book I read was an ebook, which was Ambush and the Door. And this is another book in the Parasol universe by Gail Carriger. And I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed the characters, I loved that we saw another idea of how a relationship could work. But I don't want to recommend it to many people who haven't read all the other books, I want to say, because this book spans the whole time of the stories that happened in the Parasol universe. And you get spoilers if you're sensitive to spoilers, and might not really be able to follow the events if you are not familiar with the other characters, with the other stories, because as this book spans the whole time but looks at two characters from the series and how their relationship is over time through other events that happen, you get a lot of overview. For me, it was more nostalgia, going back to see things and experience this different kind of adventure or this different kind of relationship, because it's really focused on the relationship again. I highly enjoyed it, and if you love the Parasol universe and you have read most of the other books, you will enjoy it too. Moving on to the audiobooks, I listened to the newest edition of Fred the Vampire Accountant, Out of House and Home. And as usual, I enjoy the stories. I like how the friendships and the relationships and the characters progress. We learn more about their interactions, their personalities. We learn more about the world and how everybody gets stronger, both as separate persons, but also as a clan. And I really enjoyed this installment. As it is the 7th book in the series, I don't want to talk much about the content, but if you haven't started Fred the Vampire Accountant, it's basically an accountant who turned vampire, but stayed an accountant and doesn't have an exciting life. Well, at least to begin with. I like that it's always short adventures tied in a bigger theme for one book, but you have shorter adventures that have multiple endings, like short story epic fantasy. Is that something that exists? If yes, that's my favorite kind of fantasy. Then I also listened to Beowulf, the newest translation. I must admit, I saw the original Beowulf on Audible for free, and I thought it would be fun to listen to the original Old English and then the new translation. After listening to the original for a few minutes, I decided that plan is not going to work because I didn't understand a word. Let's be honest. It sounded nice, but I didn't understand a word. Then I switched to the new translation and said, well, I'll just listen to the new translation. And while it was nice and the narration flowed, I didn't get anything out of it. It didn't do anything for me. I'm glad I tried it. I liked the translation, I guess, but it's just a story. If you want to go for it, go for it. If you want to skip it, skip it. Yeah, that's my take on that. Now, if you're thinking, Wiebke, you normally listen to way more audiobooks. You're right. I didn't listen to audiobooks in story form per se. I didn't even listen to many podcasts. I decided I wanted to learn something again and do something else than just try to survive through the months and not be able to read after work and be tired after work and just drop dead on the couch. So I thought, what to do? Something that is not in front of the computer, because I would love to do some e-learning for cameras, editing, audio, stuff like that. But I can't make my sit in front of a computer after 10 hours in front of a computer again. So I figured, why not do an audio language course again? So I thought about continuing Spanish or restarting Spanish, but then I figured I stopped Spanish, I think at least 4 times by now. And I've been watching a lot of K-drama all summer, so I thought, why not Korean? So I started learning Korean with Pimsleur, and I finished lesson 1, which is 30 lessons. Pimsleur courses work like this. You have 30-minute lessons where you listen and repeat, and that's what you do every day. That's the idea. After 30 lessons of Korean, and comparing that to the 30 lessons I did with Spanish, I must say I understood a lot more Spanish after listening to a month of Spanish. But I don't know how much is due to the fact that October was very stressful. Korean is a completely different language than Spanish, which is a Roman language, and I'm much more familiar with that type of language and the sounds. So I don't know. I started with the second lesson, but I'm not very far in. I'm enjoying learning something. I'm enjoying doing something for me that really doesn't have any purpose at all. There's no proper usage for me in the Korean, no plan to visit Korea, anything. Maybe understand the Korean shows that I'm watching at the moment, but who knows if I will continue watching K-drama until I understand more than just single words. Anyways, I'm having fun, and that's the point of this. So that's where a lot of audio listening time went to. And that was it. That was my month. Let me know in comments how your October was. Did you do something fun? Did you read a good book? Did you have a meh book? A lot of people feel this year is filled with meh books, and I can only agree. I have a few that stand out, but not that many where I'm like, I remember reading that. Currently rereading books, so that's a lot of fun. Anyways, enough rambling. Thank you all for watching.